color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Most of us blacks, or Negroes as he called us, really thought we were free without being aware that in our subconscious, all those chains we thought had been struck off were still there. And there were many ways where what really motivated us was our desire to be loved by the white man. Malcolm meant to lance that sense of inferiority. He knew it would be painful. He knew that people could kill you because of it, but he dared to take that risk.
Nejkaret, welcome once again. This is the Gilchrist Experience, and we have a special for you. I'm Dr. Valentine, and my guest again is Dr. Gabriel Oyibo. We did a previous show on him. We hope you enjoy it. And we have one more guest joining us, Brother Jonathan Saul, who will be the instigator of certain intellectual fields of energy that the youth need to represent, because we in the metaphysical and in the alchemic communities wish to reach our children who are going to be the future. They're the ones who are going to take the standard forward. So within this period of time, this half hour, we are going to turn the floor and the controls over to young brother Jonathan so that he may ask the good Dr. Oyibo and myself any questions that he may feel would be related to you as the young people out there. So, Brother Jonathan, the floor is yours.
All right, Brother Oyibo. Earlier we were speaking about as far as chemistry, which is the study of the blackness, chemet, and you made a correlation between that and biology. Maybe you should expound on that.
Yes, brother. Yeah, I'll be glad to. Actually, since this is the theory of everything, the usual problem in the presentation of it is what the youngsters have called time dilation. Time runs so fast, when you're trying to get this across. But yes, chemistry is where it all started, in the sense that it started from this, what we call the conjecture of the ancient Africans about the origin of the universe, that says the universe came out of the roaring water waves of none. And the concentration of the waves, as Gargot will interpret later on, is what you call matter. Mm-hmm. Now, this matter has just one building block. Okay, and I wish that there will be opportunity to present this to the general public so they can see it and understand what we're talking about. However, that building block they're called atom. That's the building block of the material universe.
Right.
That's where chemistry started from. That is chemistry. And of course, we went over chemistry as black magic, or the mystery of the ancient Africans, who were called Kemetic people. Okay, the dictionary definition of the word chem is black. That's okay. So in any case, so it is how chemistry came into existence through that building block, because all the elements are atom or atoms. Okay, and so what they stated, which we proved, is that there is only one atom. One, not a million, but one. That the rest are composed of that.
So they replicate as that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, so So that's how chemistry started. So therefore, because compound, of course, is a combination of elements, therefore the compounds, in other words, the elements are unified through this atom, and compounds that are unification of elements are unified also on the atom. They have one building block too, all the compounds. That means the entire universe, in terms of material universe, has only one building block, which is atom. So then you look at biology. Biology has a building block. Okay, I was talking to a doctor, a research doctor, just over this past week, and we both presented stuff, separately. He went first, and when I got into my presentation and I said, well, what's your building block? Of course, he said it was a cell, okay, and he gave his whole presentation within the cell, which, most of you will do.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, what if I tell you that the cell itself has a building block, because the cell is a chemical compound.
That's right. That's right.
Therefore, the cell has a building block called atom.
Yes.
So that makes biology a subset of chemistry.
Yes.
Okay? And then you go to psychology. Well, psychology is a study of the behavior of biological systems. Okay? Well, what drives that behavior but the cell, and which is driven by the atom. Again, that's chemistry.
Yes.
You go into sociology, the study of the interactions of the biological systems. Again, what drives that is ultimately the atom.
Let me ask you a question on taking you back to the forefront of chemistry.
Right.
When you're dealing with that one
Building
chemical,
block.
but as far as carbon is concerned,
Yes.
and I understand what's the significance of 666? You got 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons.
Well, carbon has.
But they use this as like a.
You see, now you get into. See, carbon has 6 hydrogen units.
Right.
It is quite stable. And you know about that stability by looking at its hydrogen units. That's why it's part of life, the organic chemistry. The principal elements that are visible in organic chemistry are stable elements.
So is carbon melanin?
Carbon, yes, well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's charcoal and all
Just
that.
the building blocks
Yes,
of
yes,
life.
certainly.
Alright, yeah.
So that, but it's a stable, very stable, and you can know that by just studying this building block called atom. You look at the atom and you look at the composition you have for carbon, and you understand even before you know about carbon that carbon was going to be a stable, unit. Okay, so is oxygen. So is hydrogen itself. So those are the principal, CHO and nitrogen and all that, in terms of your organic chemistry, those are all stable, and that's why they can support life.
As far as we have metaphysics,
Certainly,
Dr. Phil
certainly.
Valentine, and we have
Certainly.
physics,
Certainly.
how does those intertwine? I mean, to come up with these great theories and then you prove them through mathematical equations is phenomenal.
Excellent question, excellent question. But you see, that's why he and I, once we got started, we could, we could, he took over, literally.
Yeah.
No, but the reason is because, now, God is God Almighty's grand unified truth or theorem. That's what a theorem is. A theorem is not just a truth, but a truth that can be proven mathematically.
So a theory is something that can't be
Oh
proven.
no, theory is a second class, which is what makes this too bold. The title here is too bold for anything, but it's the truth. You can't tell anything but the truth. It's too bold. If I had said theory, I would have been forgiven more. But to call it a theorem means it could be
concrete.
proven mathematically.
Concrete.
And if I couldn't do that, then I lost my credibility. So it's very serious, to really go down route.
I see.
But this is why that truth says, therefore, it's a unified truth, and the truth is a language of the Almighty God. God is too big to lie. God is not afraid of me or you or anyone, so he looks at our face and tells the truth, And so God talks in theorems. So therefore, we went over how the subjects came out of the black magic, psychology, everything, history, law, everything else came out of that black magic. Okay, which is why people like Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein later on, and Maxwell, you know, really stuck with geometry, which is the basis. Everything in the universe is about geometry. So, but the truth is it. Now, so God is a unified truth. God Almighty's grand unified truth that is provable mathematically. That means that if anybody is presenting a knowledge base that's about truth, in fact, knowledge by definition is truth. When you study psychology, you're looking for facts about the behavior of biological systems.
Right.
The fact is truth. It's a theorem. So therefore, metaphysics is also truth, except that it's like the dark matter. Metaphysics dabble into the parts where it challenges human perception. You understand? But God presents that very clearly because it's about trajectories, motions. Motion follows a path. For example, you can follow the path of the planet. Okay, Earth, okay? The Earth is rotating around the sun. You can follow the path, okay? So at any given point in time, you can locate where it is. That is also truth, okay? Yeah, so now, so metaphysics deals in that realm. So metaphysics, the true metaphysics, is part of Dagon, is part of mathematics, part of science. Unfortunately, there are people who, you know, do a little, or they don't have enough information. They'll present this in the name of metaphysics, and it comes out, you know, giving metaphysics a bad name. But primarily, it's about the truth.
So most likely, people that want to debunk metaphysics are people that pretty much don't believe in things that's not seen.
Exactly.
Well, exactly. But again, metaphysics, and he said it so eloquently, metaphysics is the study of the causal realm. It is the study of the dynamics of how, you know how you change your mind constantly, but you stay constant as the being that's changing the mind? But in metaphysics, we study the variable ways that the mind of God works and how the causative principles of the intent manifest themselves in the visible realm. We work from the dark to the light, the way all things were said to have come about. So instead of studying the light, which can take on a whole bunch of surface different visages, we go back to the primary unitary, as he said, the atum source, to be able to make conjecture or to study how a particular law, what they end up calling laws, how particular natural laws fix themselves into the visible reality we call the universe or our earth. How are they fixed, and what are the operative dynamics behind that fixed principle? So in metaphysics, what you're studying, what he studies is the physical. He explains how the metaphysics tangibilizes into the physics. He has now put an articulable theorem for how that which is cause manifests as an effect.
That's right. And the cause, of course, is the force field.
Is that force field.
And ultimately is the Almighty God we're talking about. That's why the equation Gij, comma J equals 0. See, and the one thing about the equation is that it's so simple. It's a one-term equation, but that's the theory of everything. And when you look at it, see, it's all geometry. Everything derives from geometry. So the universe, as you see it, is a primarily geometric space. Terms like mass, you know, and of course where the dark matter comes in and so on and so forth, all those are convenient expression of what they call the concentration of the wave, which is what the spirit is, okay? Yeah, the spirit has a concentration, and you call that matter. It's simply concentrated. Physics goes on to say, well, is matter really wave or particle?
Particle, right. It's both. It has to be both.
It's both because it's wave, but concentrated wave is what you call particle.
Yes.
so it's never stopped being wave. So that's why they can't, you know. So you say light waves or photons as a particle representation. You're talking the same thing.
And you see, the beauty of it is the principle of the wave and the particle is now being understood. Because what's happening is they are now connecting the dots to what we were speaking about, the fact that they don't have the advanced technologies to actually study the particle, and that the little micromagnetic fields that it rests in. The very idea behind a particle wave reality is that the intercessor of the wave to the particle, in other words, for it to become a particle, the mind of man must intercede within the wave. So when the mind of man is not active and is not participating in the wave experience, the phenomenon remains a wave. But as soon as mind conditions the wave by projecting its perception upon that wave, it changes to a particle.
That's right. That's right.
You see?
So,
So the mind of man, thought,
Yes.
is directly connected to the phenomenon of the wave-particle theory.
Yes.
Theorem.
Yes, and actually the dynamics is such that, for example, Gaga presents the essence of God being everything as another confirmation of the fact that the spirit is waves. Because the sun sends light waves or light photons or whatever from its location, which is 93 million miles away. Okay? And as soon as it's sent, almost like this it is here. So if you can picture God, the essence of God, in terms of waves, so that those waves are far faster than the waves from the light of the sun, then you can imagine how God can permeate the entire universe like that.
Oh, now.
So it's not it's a presence that manifests tangibly as waves.
That's right.
Is, our people, the Kemetic people, or
Sure.
might want to take it back, Lemuria.
Well, they say Lemuria, and I would say we are a cosmic nomadic entity called man.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I like that. I like that.
Certainly.
As far as that trek is concerned,
Yes.
how do we as far as us today,
Yes.
in our condition as a people, how do we actually come about knowing this knowledge? I mean, way back then, because people believed that those people were primitive and they lived a certain way. Even today, you watch the History Channel, they make it seem like maybe aliens came and did it. How were those people so advanced that they knew these things? And the gap between them knowing those things and being so advanced,
Yes.
and that's us today not being as advanced.
One of the things, one of the reasons,
Good question.
one of the reasons they called the subject chemistry black magic was, as I said before, if you gave your ancestors, okay, a piece of scrap metal, you picked it up from the floor and say, well, here, what are you going to do? Throw this away?
Yes.
No, they will do something to it and turn it into gold. That's why the subject became very, very interesting to especially in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay? So, my God, how does a person turn a scrap into gold? Now, that is related to answering the question that you posed. How were they able to do it? Well, Gargot was able to prove, okay, how that was done. In reality, it's the same way that Albert Einstein too, and Newton, was able. Here is a man, in case of Newton, didn't have an equation, okay? And he sits down there studying his black magic and everything else, up with a formula that tells the trajectory of the planets around the sun. Where did he get it from? The same way he got it from the black magic.
Yes.
And the originators of the black magic got it from the Almighty God.
The Almighty God.
See, so God that has been able to demonstrate that with this fundamental solution of Jij, comma J equals 0, it has fundamental solutions, which is equivalent to the concept of fundamental particle in quantum physics, except that this is geometry. Because the universe is geometry. Mass, which is where particle comes about, is simply a convenience. Math is not the ultimate thing. The ultimate thing is geometry, because before there was mass, there was geometry.
Of course. Because the original pre-existing lines of form upon which the creator would create would have to have preceded it.
Absolutely.
And the geometric forms and shapes would have had to have taken pattern in the invisible world before the visible world.
That's absolutely right.
I have one more question, because I know we got to wrap this up. It's getting tight.
Yes, brother.
again, metaphysician, physician.
Yes.
What type of oppositions do y'all have against y'all on an everyday basis when y'all come with theories like this? I mean, high science. I mean, these are not these are things that people, you know, get hurt for. You know, the things that y'all come forth and bring towards people that's not enlightened. I mean, it's like the movie The Matrix. They really will come looking for you. What type of opposition have you come up against? And then, brother, you at the end.
Yes.
Me first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, the opposition basically is clinging on to what you used to. That's a major opposition. Of course, there are some folks with individual interests and so on and so on, and you try to work with that. You know, people who say, oh, yeah, well, it's string theory. We got to stick with string theory, and we're not going to deviate, you know, stay with that, you know. Well, the development, the beauty is that it subsumes everything that is known up until this point. Every equation that has been written by any humans can be reproduced from this equation, which in a way it's like an insurance to this formula, because somebody getting up to say that this is wrong will be at the same time saying Newton is wrong,
Right.
Albert Einstein is wrong,
Right.
Maxwell is wrong. Now, there aren't too many people, Schrodinger is wrong. There aren't too many people with that level of guts, you know, to do that. Okay, and in the process, all the string theory, as I was showing Dr. Valentine, is reproduced here in this book under one page.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay? And that's all that I've been doing in string theory, and that's not belittling, that's the truth. You know, in other words, if you find an efficient way you can present something, that's what was done here. Now, but the basic problem is one of clinging to what you used to, your familiar, you know, line of thought or thinking. Okay, you say, well, you're more comfortable with that. You don't want to deal with this new idea. And that has happened over, you know, the experience of humanity, okay? So, but you hope that over time, okay, that you're going to be overcome, because it's about the truth, which underscores the need to have this thing presented in the public. And as I'm talking to you right now, you don't have to have a Harvard PhD to talk my language. That is very clear already.
Yes.
We're all talking the same language.
Yes, yes.
So this can be presented to the general public.
Yes, it can.
Okay?
Definitely.
Brother.
Well, just to say this, that I believe, as I said with the good doctor, that we are in a time when orthodox scientific community is facing a crisis of theories, because they have been so entrenched into their own particular thinking pattern and to the ways that they wanted to focus themselves and to keep their reality in place, that they are now finding it very hard, like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You're having a hard time releasing yourself, because most people have made their money, their bread and butter on these theories that they've been dealing with. They have structured a total reality around this. Now here comes a man of color, a melanated man, who is going to now upset the apple cart. I know for a fact that I don't fear death, because I understand that once the truth is spoken, it amplifies itself. No energy is destroyed. All energy just takes upon a new form. And these words that were spoken, this particular quantum perceptual matrix that we created at this point here, has now energized itself. It's become a womb that has become impregnated. And this thing by itself, anyone who walks in here, they will be permeated by the truth, and this is going to go out. And this is what he is saying about the quantum theory, this grand unified theory, that even the word spoken is actually spoken back into itself, recalibrated so that you will pick it up as a thought or a form of inspiration.
That's it.
And with that, I would like to say to those who kind of joined us for this quick half hour, thank you, and to thank the producer. I don't know what his name is. What's the producer's name who gave us that extra time? Lee. That's Brother Lee. Thank you so much, Brother Lee, for allowing us this time. And once again, this is the Gilchrist Experience. I'm Dr. Phil Valentine. Good evening. Yes.
You to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Most of us blacks, or Negroes as he called us, really thought we were free without being aware that in our subconscious, all those chains we thought had been struck off were still there. And there were many ways where what really motivated us was our desire to be loved by the white man. Malcolm meant to lance that sense of inferiority. He knew it would be painful. He knew that people could kill you because of it, but he dared to take that risk.
He was saying something over and above that of any other leader of that day. While the other leaders were begging for entry into the house of their oppressor, he was telling you to build your own house.
He expelled fear for African Americans. He says, I will speak out loud what we've been thinking. And he said, you'll see, people will hear it, and they will not do anything to us necessarily, okay? But I will now speak it for the masses of people. When he said it in a very strong fashion, in this very manly fashion, in this fashion that says, I am not afraid to say what you've been thinking all these years, that's why we loved him. He said it out loud, not behind closed doors. He took on America for us.
And I, for one, as a Muslim, believe that the white man is intelligent enough. If he were made to realize how black people really feel and how fed up we are without that old compromise and sweet talk, why, you're the one that make it hard for yourself. The white man believes you when you go to him with that old sweet talk, because you've been sweet-talking him ever since he brought you here. Stop sweet-talking him. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have